Hi guys, I'm Unhinged Games. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to run through another tutorial, this time showing you how to set up the game Only Climb Better Together on Steam for streaming on TikTok. You may have seen other streamers playing this game, and you'll notice that there's actually some interactive elements where viewers on TikTok can send certain GIFs that impact things that happen in the actual game. For instance, there's a mechanic in the game where there's a ragdoll effect. And the whole point of the game is to try and climb as high as possible on precarious ledges and whatnot. But when you press that ragdoll button, your character sprawls out, often causing you to fall, sometimes big distances, which can be really, really frustrating and fun as a sabotage game mechanic. Now, if you're streaming on TikTok and you're trying to monetize your stream, a great way to do that is by playing sabotage games where viewers sending gifts can trigger those types of mechanics to happen. And that's what I'm going to walk you through how to set up in this tutorial. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Now you're going to need to have already purchased the game Only Climb on Steam. And once you've done that, you'll also need to make sure that you have Tickfinity downloaded, which is an augmentation tool to help with your TikTok stream. It's free. You can obviously pay for the pro version if you'd like, but that's not necessary for the purposes of setting up this mechanic today. So let's talk about what this looks like. In Tickfinity, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that you've set up a profile specifically for Only Climb, unless it's the only thing that you're playing or you don't care about how it might impact other games that you play. But I always recommend when you're setting up mechanics for a game that involve interactive elements that you set it up on its own profile. So you can see I've got a few different stream profiles here for different things, and I've set up one specifically for Only Climb. You're going to want to navigate down to the actions icon over here on the left, and we're going to go ahead and get an action set up. Now, there really is only one important action that you need to set up for this game. But as you watch this, I want you to keep in mind the potential for other games that you might play and other interactive elements that you might incorporate. The possibilities really are endless, and you can kind of customize this for just about any game. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new action, okay? So this action is going to be to knock you down or smack you down as you're trying to climb. So we're going to just name it smack, okay? And as you can see, there's a variety of things that can happen here. You can set up all kinds of interactive actions and events on your stream for a variety of different things, but we're specifically going to do a couple of things. I want to make it as fun as possible for the viewer, so I'm going to play some audio. When they send a gift that smacks me down, I want it to play something funny. So I'm going to go ahead and find a sound, and maybe I'll go like slap. And this sound is a lot of fun.
Oh!
We'll play that. You can hear that. That's a good time. We'll go ahead and add that as the audio that plays. Now, how does it actually make us fall? Well, we'll scroll down a little bit further, and we're going to simulate the keystroke. Now, in games, especially mouse and keyboard games, there are keys all across the keyboard that may do different things and impact things that happen in the game. In Only Climb, and you can choose a different keybind if you want, but the default is to press the X letter. And so when you press the X button on your keyboard, your character will ragdoll. So that's what the keystroke that we want to simulate with the GIFs that people are sending. So this will pull this up. Here's the keystroke configurator, and you can do things like Control, Alt, Shift, or any of the function keys that it won't just let you press on the keyboard when you're doing this. But because we're just doing a letter one, this is really easy. All we have to do is just click in this box and press X on our keyboard, and there we go. We are good to go. Now you're going to notice a couple other things here. It's going to ask you if you want to enable game compatibility mode, which requires auto it to be installed. And that is absolutely something that you have to do for these types of games. So make sure that's checked. And if you haven't already previously installed auto it, I'll be sure to put a link in the description of this video to walk you through or link you to that website. But here's the website, and you're just essentially going to come down here. Let me show you just so it's a little bit clearer. You can come down on their website and download this free script creator. And it's just right here is the installation. No big deal. This is a really common thing to run on these types of games. And so just make sure you have that installed first. And again, I'll put a link in the description. Okay, so you've got this set up. X, that's checked. The other thing is, how long do you want that key hold to last? 100 milliseconds is about right, but you can have fun and play around with this. There might be situations in some games where you want it held down longer. For instance, if you're trying to run in a straight line, you could set up a keybind to move left or move right for a certain number of seconds for a certain type of gift. So use your imagination, lots of fun stuff you can do. But for our purposes today, we're just going to leave this as the default. So let's go ahead and save that. All right, some other things that you can do here. You can adjust how loud that audio clip is that plays. We're going to turn down the volume on that just a little bit. You can choose which overlay screen you'd like it to be on. We're just going to leave it on screen 1. Don't worry about that too much. You can also set cooldowns for how many times somebody can send it or how frequently, and for specific users. But for monetization purposes, I'd recommend leaving those both at 0. Enabling fade in and out is fine, but let's go ahead and add that it should repeat with gift combos. If somebody sends a gift to smack you down and they want to send multiples in a row, we don't want them to send 5 to try and smack you 5 times and have it only smack you once. So we definitely want it to repeat with gift combos. You can go ahead and save now. And here we have our smack action ready to go. So how do we determine what gift will trigger that action? Let's come down here and go to events. So let's go ahead and create a new event. Now, who's going to be able to trigger this? Ideally, for monetization purposes, you want anyone watching your TikTok live stream to be able to do it. So I would just leave this as everyone. But again, wheels turning as you think about ways to customize your stream, you could add specific actions and events that are specific only to certain people. Now, what will trigger the event? We obviously don't want it to happen every time someone joins, but you could set it up as a follow action. Maybe if someone subscribes, if someone puts a particular chat in, things like that. However, what we're going to go ahead and do today, because we're specifically working on gifts and monetization, is if somebody sends a specific gift, it will trigger this. Okay, it's going to give us a drop down here to pick which gift we want. Now, this is totally up to you, but I recommend picking gifts that are right around 10 coins or so. That seems to be kind of a sweet spot. So I'm going to just pick a gift that I know is 10 coins. We're going to do the High Bear gift. This one has stayed around. TikTok tends to change up their gifts from time to time, but this always seems to be a good one. So here's the High Bear. It's just what appears to be a cute little gummy bear, and we'll go ahead and select this one. And then what action do we want it to trigger? Well, we just created that smack action, and if you had a variety of actions, you could choose any of those actions, but it's going to just provide a little drop down here for us, and here's the smack, so we'll just go ahead and select that. Other fun things you can do is set up multiple different actions, and a gift has the ability to trigger any of those at random, so kind of like a lucky wheel situation. So that's another mechanic that you can use when you're setting up actions and events in Tickfinity. But for right now, the High Bear gift will create this smack. Let's go ahead and save that. Okay, and you'll see that everything is set up here. And matter of fact, there's actually an event simulator that you can see down here at the bottom. Maybe I can make this a little bit easier for you guys to see. Yeah, event simulator down here, where if we search for the High Bear gift and simulate it, it will duplicate that and give us an example of what that looks like over in the game, just to test and make sure it's working. But one other step that we need to do is we need to add this overlay screen to our actual streaming software. Now, you might stream with OBS like I do, or maybe you stream with TikTok Live Studio. So if you're streaming with TikTok Live Studio, the easy way to do this is just to click on this overlay link right here. And you'll see it's copied to clipboard. And then you're going to come over and, normally on here, you would have like your game and your camera set up and everything. This is just a blank screen I've got set up over here. But again, for the purposes of the tutorial, you'll add a source and you'll add a link, and you will just paste that link that we just copied from over here, right here. Keep it always on active, leave the sound on, and just add that source. And now you have this action link. And it doesn't actually show, it's not visible, but this needs to be on here somewhere so that when people send the gift in TikTok Live, it triggers all of these mechanics to happen through Tickfinity, okay? And you're good to go. Now, what it looks like on my side, and you can kind of see, this is what I have set up in OBS for OnlyClimb, is if people are actually, and we'll actually just go to the game so you can kind of see what this looks like, is we're running around in the game. If somebody sends that gift and I trigger just as a demonstration to simulate that keystroke, There it is. There's my ragdoll. My character is going to fall, right? So that's what we're going for. Now, if you want to kind of test this out on your own and see what it looks like, you can do that. But the only trouble is as you navigate back and forth from Tickfinity to the game, that does make it just a little bit tricky. And so, play around with it and hopefully you're able to kind of figure out what that looks like. Okay, so let's just real quickly talk about your layout so that your viewers then actually know kind of what this will do as they play this, because obviously you want them to understand how to trigger this. I've added a few graphics here. So I have the little high bear and a little smack. If you haven't already watched my tutorial video on how to add these images to your overlays, I'll put the link here in this video. Be sure to watch that. And I also added some things like if they send a galaxy, I will, just manually jump off. That will reset me. I'll jump back down to the bottom. But usually what I do is I put up a timer, run it for 60 seconds, and ask somebody to send another one to save. So you can kind of get a battle going back and forth with your viewers of people who maybe want to see you climb as high as possible. Others are trying to sabotage you. It's a lot of fun, high energy in your stream, also a great way to monetize it. I have a gift for no saves, and then I also have a gift for closing the game. Now, this is up to you. This is a little tricky, but that's another action and event that you can create where it triggers Alt F4 on your keyboard to actually close out the game. But be aware, if somebody sends that gift and you're in another application, it will force close any application that's active. So that one is a little bit tricky because someone could accidentally shut down your stream. So just be aware of that. Okay, so again, up to you how you want to customize this and what you want that to look like, but adding these overlays and graphics just lets people know what's going on. So again, setting up the action, setting up the event, copying the overlay screen browser code or link into your stream, actual stream scene itself, either in OBS or in TikTok Live, and then adding the necessary graphics and overlays for people to see how to trigger this in your stream. And that's it. And again, the possibilities are endless for the different games that you might play. And I hope that you can think of some fun ways to incorporate that into your stream experience to make it more exciting for your viewers and also build some monetization. If you're not already following, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a follow or a like and subscribe to this channel and put in the comments what you would like to see me do a tutorial on next time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support and have fun streaming.